Hi, I'm Dave from ThoughtFlow. In this video, we are going to learn about user story mapping and how you can create a story map for your product using ThoughtFlow. When a cross-functional team starts working on a product, everyone thinks from their own perspective. Management thinks of revenue. Developers think about the code and modules. Designers think of the interface and interactions. But sometimes the most important perspective, which is of the customer or the end user, gets left behind. Story mapping helps you define and visualize this journey from a customer's perspective. With this exercise, your team can align their individual contributions to what really matters to customers: a great experience. Just as a Google map is composed of countries, cities, streets, a user story map has its own components. The first one is the user persona, or who is going to use your product. Then we map these persona to their goals. What do they want to achieve with your product? Next, we map out the thought process of a user trying to achieve this goal as user activities. Together, the goals, personas, and activities describe what we call the narrative flow, or the backbone of a story map. User activities are further broken down into user stories, which specify how someone can complete these activities within your product. Once your team has an understanding of the end-to-end user journey, you can separate your stories into releases. Let's dive deeper with a few examples. In this video, we are going to build story maps for a ride-sharing app like Uber and a flight reservation service like Expedia. Let's get started. First, we start with the user persona, or who is going to use the product. Uber is used by drivers and commuters. A flight reservation service could be used by travelers, travel agents, or even by airline staff. The next step is to map these personas to their goals. A job story is a great format to describe your goals along with a user's situation, motivations, and the expected outcome into a purposeful statement. Going back to our Uber example, a commuter expects to book a cab. We can elaborate this as a job story to add more context. When I need to go somewhere, I want to book a cab so that I can reach my destination on time. Let's look at story maps for Expedia. A traveler expects to reserve a flight. Let's describe this as a job story. When I'm traveling to another city, I want to book the most suitable flight so that I don't compromise on my family's comfort and schedule. As you may notice, the expectations of a business traveler could be different from a leisure traveler, so we can create another persona to visualize their journeys differently. Once we have a good understanding of the user's goals and motivations, we want to start thinking of how they are going to achieve those goals. When I'm booking a cab, I would look for a cab around me, tell the driver where I want to go, negotiate on the price, ride to my destination, and then pay the driver. Similarly, for our flight reservation example, when I'm booking a ticket, I would specify the travel details, see all my options and narrow down with some criteria. If I'm not happy with my options, I might widen my search. Then I would select the most suitable option and make a payment. Remember that user activities are meant to visualize the thought process, so we'll avoid any technical details or product interactions at this stage. Goals and activities summarize a user's expectations from our product. Next, we want to come up with features to fulfill these expectations within our product. For the Uber example, when I'm looking for a cab around me, I could provide the current location by selecting a landmark, or maybe the app could detect location from the phone's GPS. I want to see an estimated waiting time before a driver shows up. I could see a list of all the drivers who are near me and talk to them. Instead of a list, maybe I could see all the drivers on a map. With this approach, your team can drill down to a specific point in the customer journey and generate ideas to optimize the user experience. As you use this approach for all the personas, goals, and activities, you get a huge map that represents the end-to-end flow of your product from a customer's perspective. To explore further, check out our repository of story maps for some popular products. Now, ideation is just the beginning. Building a product is a completely different ballgame. Product development can be an expensive and time-consuming effort. You might have seen this popular image on the internet, which shows what should be a part of your MVP and what shouldn't. As you can see, both of them have the same end result, but the one on the bottom has a shippable product at every step, which means that they are able to go to the market, gather essential feedback from customers, and iterate in the right direction. To prioritize releases on your story map, we first go to a sheet view of the stories and add rough effort estimates on the stories. These could be in days, weeks, or months, depending on complexity of the stories. Next, create a set of releases. We'll create releases called Now, Next, and Later. For making a usable product, we'll need to cover the end-to-end flow of a customer's narrative. So pick out stories along with their dependencies from each activity. There, you have a roadmap which you can now share with your team. In a cross-functional team, everybody thinks from their perspective depending on what they bring to the table. Designers think in terms of screen and interface elements. Developers think in terms of modules and components. A product owner thinks in terms of product backlogs and sprints. With a tool like ThoughtFlow, your team can easily extend your story map to add additional entities like APIs, database tables and fields, UI components and forms, and product backlog items. You can also push work items to your team's favorite tool like Jira or Trello and keep everyone in sync. I hope this video was helpful in creating a shared understanding about your product. To get started, log in to thoughtflow.io. Check out the examples for popular products and create your story map for free. Thank you.